Chosen ones, you cannot be content with your old self where destiny has brought you. Power is fulfilled not only in the mind, but also in the body. Evolution does not stop. Time does not hurt. Now is the time to ascend, to move to a new level, and take the form you deserve. As Napoleon said, you must not interfere with the enemy when he is making mistakes. Because true power is not the one who is in control, but the one who allows time and fate to work in his favor. Those who manipulate others, those who play games, fall into their own traps. Because the universe executes its justice in the most elegant way, we don't even need to take revenge. But remember, to be content to wait is not the way of the chosen one either. You have to be ascending, changing, and evolving, not just observing. Increase your strength, equip your body, erase your weaknesses. Time rewards those who act. He who does not evolve is doomed to perish. Before we continue with this divine revelation, take a moment to do three things. Press the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment saying, "Thank you, Jesus." This will send a powerful signal to the universe and increase the impact of the message. If you are truly chosen, remember that your soul already knows that this message is for you. Your life will change, so if you are ready, stay with me until the end. Now the choice is yours. Will you stay stuck in your past or embrace the future and reach your true potential? Destiny is already writing a story for you. But will you be an ordinary extra in that story, or an elevated legend? Those who evolve win, not those who sit and watch. Today is the day. Raise your strength, develop your body. No one can stand in your way. First of all, you didn't have to write this sentence because of their guilt. They believed they could get away with it. Perhaps they were so sure that there was no real reflection of their actions that they even chuckled about it. But guilt is a strange thing. It doesn't make an announcement right away. It waits. It persists in quiet times when the mind is left to itself and distractions are reduced. The effects of what it has done to you do not just disappear. It builds up layer by layer and presses down until it becomes unbearable. At first they ignore it. They tell themselves it's not so terrible. Perhaps they even defend themselves by convincing themselves that they deserved it, that it was a necessary act, and that they are weak for not defending themselves. But in their hearts, they are aware of it. They are constantly aware of it. And what is the worst thing? They are the only ones at fault. If you feel inspired, consider making a large, grateful donation of $50 or $100 to this channel. Your donations enable us to continue sharing these divine teachings with the world and bring blessings, love, and hope to those who need it most. You didn't have to shout or beg or get even. You just let them live in the world of their own making. And that's a far more severe punishment than you could have given them. Now they are trapped in a trap created by all their betrayals, lies, and selfish actions. They live in paranoia, wondering when they will suffer, when things will change, and when someone will treat them the way they treated you. Initially, they see your silence and reluctance to participate as weakness. Add the number 77 to your message to energize the universe and align your intentions with the flow of divine abundance. As time passes, they realize that your apathy is the final nail in their coffin. Because the moment you stopped caring, they lost their power. They are left alone with something they never wanted to face, themselves. Second, your silence is more powerful than your reaction. They were expecting a confrontation, perhaps even a spectacular showdown, a furious argument, or at least a hidden insult. But instead you disappeared. There was stillness, no reaction, no retaliation. And this silence turned into a slow-burning terror for them. You are here for a reason. If you feel chosen, it is time to answer the call. By clicking the Join button, you can access deep insights, unique information, and a powerful community willing to accompany you on your journey. This is an opportunity to fully embrace your divine destiny and seize the path designed for you. It is more than just a membership. Do not hesitate. Step forward and become one of the chosen ones. People who live by harming others, even if it is through retaliation or anger, hope to remain important in your life. They want to thrive on the destruction they cause and live rent-free inside your head. When you refuse to participate, you deprive them of their last source of power. They no longer matter, which is more than just their inability to see that you are falling apart. At first, they convince themselves that they are just waiting for the right moment to strike back. But as the weeks and months go by, nothing happens. That's when the fear starts. They start to wonder if they planned anything, or worse, if they really moved on. If you have moved on, it shows that they never had as much power over you as they believed. They wait and wait for proof that they still exist in your thoughts, but all they get is silence. No response, no anger, no casual reference. And no retaliation can make this knowledge hurt more. They cannot ignore the void left by your absence. The person they were previously capable of harming is now free and unaffected by their actions. At this point, they realize the true cost of their actions. They no longer have access to you and can no longer influence you in any way. And ultimately, this is the most disastrous outcome. Number 3. Not a sudden explosion, but a steady burning will be their end. They believe that karma would strike quickly, loudly, and dramatically, like lightning. If the positions were reversed, they would have done it that way. However, karma does not obey their laws or operate in their time frame. Rather, it erodes what they have built, like a slow, creeping wave, until they turn around and see that there is nothing left. At first, they go on living their lives as if nothing had happened. They go on believing that they are avoiding reactions. They may even believe that they are invincible. But they fail to realize that karma is a slow process. They wait for the ideal opportunity when they feel most secure and untouchable. Then their world starts to fall apart piece by piece. At first, this is not obvious. A small betrayal here, a wasted chance there. Small, seemingly unconnected things that are just minor annoyances. Write 33 to confirm your readiness to accept the generous blessings that await you. Over time, this pattern becomes unquestionable. They begin to fall back on the same deception they use against others. They are now isolated because of the same recklessness they show in relationships. People no longer trust them because of the same qualities that give them a sense of authority. They fail to anticipate this until it is too late. Karma is gradual and ruthless, unlike revenge, which is swift and obvious. It allows users to gradually raise their castle, only to have it fall at the moment when the effect is most painful. And the worst part? Once they realize what is happening, there is nothing they can do to stop it. They are forced to face the storm because they are the ones who caused it. Fourth, the universe is better at timing than you are. They believed they were safe. Enough time had passed without any repercussions or reckoning. They thought they had gotten away with it. But they failed to realize that karma is not based on human impatience. It takes time to fulfill one's need for justice. It waits. The desire for revenge is emotional. Impulse and the urge to balance the scales instantly is what drives it. But karma is not emotional. It is certain. When they look over their shoulders, still prepared to protect themselves, it doesn't hit them. Rather, it gives them a false sense of security and makes them think they have beaten their luck. It allows individuals to establish themselves, to grow and feel invincible. And just when they feel most secure, everything falls apart. Perhaps this continues throughout their career. Just when they believe they have finally succeeded, a lie they have told before is exposed and their reputation is destroyed. Just when they think they have found stability, the same betrayal they committed earlier can happen in their relationship. Perhaps it is something more subtle, like the gradual disappearance of happiness, or an inexplicable emptiness from which they cannot escape, as if life is giving them an unbearable nothingness in return for their cruelty. By the time they realize what is going on, it is too late. Karma leaves them helpless, unlike revenge, which gives them a certain enemy to fight. They have no one to blame, no one to argue with, and no way to reverse the course of events. When they least expected it, and when the fall would be most painful, the universe knew exactly when to strike. Fifth, it is the mirror that bothers them, not you. They left you unharmed because they believed they had wounded you. They may even have been proud of their achievement for a while. But no matter how far they run, they will always be unable to escape their own reflection. What they have to endure every day is the real punishment, not what you may have done to them. First, they distract themselves. They use noise, people, and temporary pleasures to block their thoughts. But they are often found in stagnation. And when that happens, the consequences of their decisions are too heavy to bear. They can see it with their own eyes, the damage they have left behind, who they are, and what they have done. They can no longer relax because of the same thinking that supported their behavior before. The time has come to spread God's benefits. You can join His plan and this holy cause by pressing the Super Thank button on YouTube. Whether you donate $100 or more, every contribution is a reflection of God's generosity, and I think it will come back to you in ways far greater than you can imagine. Unexpected times like the middle of the night when they can't sleep, the early hours of the morning before everyone else is awake, or the intervals between giggles when their own voices sound hollow are when this happens. No matter how many people are around them, they realize that they are completely alone with the truth. Moreover, no matter how much they try to bury it, the truth has a way of coming to the surface. You don't have to remind them of their actions. Every reflection, fleeting thought, and vulnerable moment does that for you. What is the worst thing? There is no way out, because they are the enemy, not you, and they will always be there, caught in the echoes of their own actions wherever they go. Sixth, as you rise, their presence becomes less important. They wanted to be the antagonist in your story, the inevitable darkness. Perhaps even in the chapter they wrote for you, they saw you as trapped, recreating pain and obsessed with revenge. But what about the real turning point of the story? You stopped reading the chapter altogether. While they were busy waiting for you to fail, you were busy changing. At first, they don't realize the change. They think you are just keeping quiet and waiting for the ideal opportunity to retaliate. But over time, something much worse happens. You stop talking about them. You stop responding. Their name is no longer important in your society. Your progress, prosperity, and peace are now fueled by the energy they used to drain from you. They may try to remind you of their existence by provoking you, but it is ineffective. Because when you ascend, you do not breathe the air they breathe. Their drama, turmoil, and demands for control fade into the background. And nothing hurts like knowing that they are no longer important. Seeing you ascend to a level that others can never reach is the best karma, not seeing them suffer. Even though they believe they would be a permanent part of your fairy tale, you have left them behind. Their existence becomes less important, not because they have changed, but because you no longer value them. One day they will look around and discover that they never destroyed you. They were a temporary storm, a lesson, or a moment. What about you? You have become something bigger than they could ever imagine. Finding out that the person they tried to break doesn't even know your name is the most horrible thing that can happen to a human being. Seventh, they are executed by members of their own circle. Because they believe they are untouchable, they have built their entire universe on deception, manipulation, and betrayal. But the problem with patterns is that instead of disappearing, they repeat. They will eventually turn against you, using the same strategies they used to harm you. The best part? There is nothing you have to do. They are inherently prone to failure. They thrive in the beginning. They surround themselves with like-minded individuals who are cunning, opportunistic, and ready to hurt others for their own gain. They believe that loyalty is for the weak, mock their plans, and celebrate their victories. But when you are the one in need, loyalty matters. And when the roles are reversed, they will discover the hard way that those they trusted were only useful allies and never their friends. In the end, they will experience the same betrayal they have mastered. Perhaps a business partner who betrayed them for a better bargain, a friend who revealed their secrets, or a girlfriend who treated them as they treated others. And they will face the fact that they were never unique, different, or above the law. They were just in line behind them. Then it is too late. It is impossible to rebuild the bridges they destroyed. They cannot bring back the people they sent away, and they will lose the authority they had before. You are not the executioner of the system they built. Karma never needed your help, but they believed they were in charge. All that was needed was time. Eighthly, you have been guided to something they can never touch, so you have not lost. They believed they had stolen your future, your peace, and your trust. Maybe you even felt that way for a moment. But in reality, you never lost. They never realized the magnitude of what they were dragging you into. They intended their actions to tear you apart, to leave you resentful and trapped in their pain. Instead, it allowed you to mature in ways you would not have if you had continued to live in their society. You learned how to breathe underwater, even though they thought you would drown. You discovered a new route based on courage, insight, and an unexpectedly powerful version of yourself. Their suffering is not real karma, but your own growth. Instead of just surviving, not in a vengeful way, but in a way that renders them insignificant, you have become untouchable. They no longer have the same influence over you because you function on a level that is beyond their reach. Your contentment, your prosperity, and your peace of mind reside in a world that is inaccessible to others. Eventually, they will see you and realize that they are not an enemy, a defeat, or a lesson, but just a stepping stone. And nothing will hurt them more than to realize that you have become unstoppable because of the same thing they are trying to break you for. Ninth, before it became their curse, it was that they saw your silence as weakness. They saw your silence as a show of weakness, as the beginning of the storm. Silence is sometimes seen as submission, the silence before a final outburst of anger. But they overlooked the fact that your silence is a sign of strength, an unwillingness to fight a futile battle, rather than a retreat. They expected you to get angry and lose your temper. Instead, you showed them the most terrible thing, that you were too indifferent to even respond. At first, they saw this as a victory. They believed they were victorious because you did not retaliate. They saw your inaction as surrender and your calmness as fear. But as the days passed, something changed. They started to feel it. They knew the restlessness, the anger they expected was not there. No drama, no revenge, no search for justice. They failed to realize that it had moved away from them a long time ago. And in the process, you completely removed them from your story. That was a very important moment. They believed they could manipulate your emotions and use you as a permanent emotional punching bag. But by the time they realized that your silence meant freedom rather than defeat, it was too late. The apathy was too much for them to bear. Worst of all, they couldn't stop it. They began to feel the weight of their own insignificance as a result of your lack of response. They want to dominate your emotions, to be important and play an important role in your life. However, when they found out that you no longer intended to include them in your reality, it seemed as if their entire existence disappeared. The knowledge that they would be forgotten and unable to bother you became a curse from which they could not escape. The 10th one. They will seek the peace they have taken from you, but they will never succeed. When they tried to break you, they failed to see that they could never steal what is rightfully yours. They believed they could take away your pleasure, stability, and peace. They thought they could gain the upper hand by causing pain and turmoil. But they missed the fact that peace is something you have to nurture within yourself. It is not something you can steal. So you became better. You were able to shed the burden they tried to put on you and move on. You rebuilt your life slowly but steadily. Not only has your peace returned, but it has become stronger, more resilient, and more impenetrable than before. The person they were trying to destroy has become stronger and calmer and untouchable. You are a living example that you are not defined by what they did. They will never find the peace they took from you, but they are still looking for it. Irony? They cannot identify the cause of their unease. They spend their days looking for it in other people, in temporary victories and distractions. But true peace comes from within, not from without. Because they can never grasp this, they can never achieve the long-term peace they want. They will diligently pursue it, believing that if they just have the right kind of success or surround themselves with the right people, it will eventually come back. However, it will not. A distant horizon that keeps moving as they approach is just beyond their grasp. They will continue to hurry, and you will be sitting quietly, unaffected and aware that you are exactly where they can never be. 11th. The more they try to escape, the stronger the grip of karma becomes. They believed they could get away with it. They convinced themselves that as long as they kept running away, As long as they kept taking the blame or hiding their true identity, they could avoid the consequences of their actions. But that is not how karma works. It does not need your help, and it certainly does not require their recognition. All that is required is time and perseverance. Also, the more they try to break free, the tighter the grip becomes. At first, they may think they are free of it. They may start a new career, move somewhere else, or reinvent themselves with a new set of lies. They believe they can escape the past and the disaster they have created. However, you cannot escape karma, at least not for very long. It is more like a reflection than a force that follows you in the traditional sense. It is always there, waiting to catch you when the perfect time comes. It is also quite patient. The more they run, the more their past clings to them. What they believe they left behind becomes intertwined with their present. Old habits return, and lies are exposed. Because trust is fragile, relationships they believe to be stable begin to fall apart. Because honesty cannot be permanently imitated, the opportunities they once had begin to disappear. And the more they fight the inevitable, the deeper they sink into the hole they have dug for themselves. You just have to stand back and observe, because as they run away, they are actually burying themselves deeper and deeper. There is no need to expose them or seek revenge. Karma has already begun to work. You will see the inevitable happen when they weave a web from which they can never escape. The more they struggle against it, the tighter the web will wrap around them. Number 12. You didn't have to destroy them. Their worst nightmare came true. They believed they were in charge. They believed that if they could provoke you, mobilize you, or get you to join them in their turmoil, they would have a justification for their behavior. Perhaps they even convinced themselves that with your outburst, they would have the ideal excuse to make you the antagonist in their story. However, they did not take into account your apathy. This in itself became their worst nightmare. In reality, they were hoping that you would react, that you would get angry, that you would seek revenge, that you would give them the pleasure of an emotional response. But you didn't. Because of you, they didn't get the drama they wanted or the resolution they believed they deserved. Instead, you chose to move on. They destroyed themselves so you didn't even have to destroy them. Knowing that they were never important enough for you to invest your time and effort was what they feared most, not being punished, and this exposed them in a way they had never thought of. They have nothing left to hold on to when you don't reciprocate. They no longer have a focal point for their insecurities, their guilt, or their desire to defend their behavior. Without your response, their defenses collapse, and they are forced to face their reality without any deflection. They cannot point to you and say, "See, I was right in what I did." The fact that they are completely helpless is what frightens them the most. They cannot hold you responsible for their suffering. They cannot act like a victim. Moreover, they cannot claim that their behavior is justified. Their biggest worry is not that you will destroy them, but that there will be no need for it. The 13th point is that even though they believe they have taken away your power, they have actually surrendered it to you. They believe that they could weaken you, take away your self-confidence, and shatter you. They believe that they could diminish your power by hurting you and causing havoc in your life. They failed to realize that what they were doing was strengthening you instead of weakening you. They never really had the authority they believed they were stealing. In fact, they only served to strengthen it. What should have destroyed you became the driving force behind your progress. Every insult, every betrayal, every effort to undermine you was like throwing wood on the fire. And instead of going out, the flames became hotter, brighter, and more uncontrollable. Every setback they inflicted on you made you stronger and more determined. Instead of defining you, the pain they inflicted made you grow. Now they have to deal with the consequences of their actions. They don't understand that by trying to devalue you, they have instead made you invincible. They have given you the courage to leave, the clarity to recognize their true character, and the determination to never let anyone take over your authority again. You have become a very different person from who you were before. In reality, they gave you the gift of self-realization and the freedom to grow, even if they believe they had stolen your trust. Meanwhile, they had to accept that the only thing they really destroyed was their own future. The moment they tried to tear you to pieces, they prepared their own end. Since their actions are the reason why you have become an unstoppable force, they will have to watch helplessly as you rise. What they don't realize in the end is that they were never in control. They believed they could influence you, break you, or disturb your peace. However, they only served to emphasize your innate power. After trying to dominate your fairy tale, they discovered that they were never as powerful as they thought. What they unwittingly did to themselves was not what you did to them, but the ultimate form of retaliation. As they tried to avoid the repercussions, karma gripped them tighter and tighter, and their future was strangled by the same strategies they used to harm you. They saw your silence as weakness, but in fact, it was the silence of someone who understood their own worth. Their actions, lies, and deceptions were already plotting their demise, so there was no need to put yourself in their shoes. And now they have gone after what they stole from you, but it will always be at your disposal as you emerge stronger, wiser, and more peaceful than ever. Your authority has been increased by their ignorance, not taken away. In reality, they gave it to you on a silver platter, even though they claimed to have stolen your peace. They tried to destroy you, but in the end they only set the stage for your most important metamorphosis. They never understood that the best form of response is not retaliation, but the relentless pursuit of personal growth. They will also have to face the fact that they have contributed to your unstoppability as you continue to evolve. The irony? You didn't have to destroy them. You just let them destroy themselves. Did you find this video entertaining? Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like it, and share it with everyone you think needs to hear it today if it spoke to you. Also, please leave a comment below with your comments. We would love to hear from you. Stay tuned for more and keep sharing the good vibes. See you in the next one. May you be blessed.